Have you ever stopped to think about what it truly means to follow Jesus? Sometimes we think it's just about going to church on Sunday, listening to some good music, and then going back home, right? But following Jesus is way deeper than that. Imagine a path that's not always easy. Sometimes it's pretty steep, full of rocks. There are days when you feel that tiredness, the urge to give up, to go back to your comfort zone. But then you remember who's by your side. Maybe you've already felt this, that feeling that something's missing, an emptiness that nothing seems to fill, even when everything's fine. We search for answers in so many things, in friends, at work, even in things we know aren't good for us. And still, peace doesn't come. But hey, what if I told you that following Jesus isn't about losing, but about gaining something the whole world can't give? The answer is right there, in that commitment that transforms, that brings true peace, purpose, genuine joy. But for that, we need to understand what it really means to follow Jesus. And I'll let you in on a secret. It's not always easy, but it's always, always, always rewarding. Now let me tell you what this commitment truly means. But first, just make sure you're subscribed to the channel, because the next videos will be a series of content that will help you strengthen your faith even more and bless your life. When we think about commitment, what comes to mind? A marriage? An important job? Maybe even training for that sport you love. All of that requires preparation, dedication, surrender, right? Well, following Jesus is exactly like that, but in an even deeper way. Being a Christian isn't just saying, I believe. It's not like choosing a movie for the weekend and chilling on the couch. It's like preparing for a marathon. You need to train, get stronger, prepare for each step of the journey. In Christianity, commitment is more than just a pretty word. It's a daily decision. It's waking up and deciding you're going to live according to Jesus' teachings, even when the world outside is screaming the opposite. And this is where it gets tough. It's not easy, but it's a commitment worth making. It requires prayer, reading, fellowship. It requires heart. And you know, Jesus never promised it would be simple. He said the path is narrow, full of challenges, but he also assured us that we'd never be alone. This is the kind of commitment we make with all our heart, knowing it might not be easy, but it's the only one that truly brings life. And this commitment, like everything in life, has a price. And the question remains, what's the cost of following Jesus? Following Jesus has a cost, and he never hid that from anyone. Jesus made it very clear that whoever wanted to follow him needed to be ready to give up a lot. Remember what's written in Luke 9? Jesus says, "Foxes have dens, and birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head." With these words, he was saying that following his footsteps might mean leaving comfort behind, giving up the security we seek so much. But it doesn't stop there. Following Jesus can also demand sacrifices that touch the deepest parts of our soul. Think about the stories of the first disciples. They left their fishing nets, their families, their professions. They gave up everything they had for something much greater. They understood that the value of walking alongside Jesus was far greater than anything they possessed. And this can be uncomfortable. It might mean giving up relationships that pull us away from God, leaving behind habits that don't please him, and in some cases, even facing persecution and suffering because of our faith. Jesus never promised a smooth journey, but he guaranteed that whoever wanted to follow him would need to carry their own cross. And what does it mean, after all, to carry the cross? That's where the part about renunciation and sacrifice comes in. If you're enjoying this content, hit the like button. It's really important so YouTube keeps showing you our videos, and that way we'll keep helping you. So go ahead and leave a like on this video. It's free, all right? Carrying the cross. What a powerful image, right? But what does it mean in practice? When Jesus talks about carrying the cross, he's not talking about a physical weight, but about a profound choice to deny oneself, to set aside the I so that the He can live in us. It's about saying no to the desires that pull us away from God and yes to the path He has for us. And that, my friend, isn't always easy. Sometimes it means setting aside a dream, a plan, or even a part of who we think we are. Look at the example of Paul, the apostle. He had everything: status, respect, a promising career among the Pharisees. But when he encountered Jesus, all of that lost its shine. He himself said that he considered everything as garbage compared to the privilege of knowing Christ. Paul understood that following Jesus meant giving up his entire old life, his titles, his achievements, his reputation, to live a new life aligned with God's will. And this is the great truth. Following Jesus means sacrificing momentary pleasures, pride, self-righteousness. It's renouncing everything that prevents us from living fully for Him. Sometimes we think, but is it worth it? And Jesus, with that gaze that pierces the soul, responds, I gave you everything. Are you willing to give everything for me? And then we realize that to live this life of renunciation and sacrifice, we need something more, a power that doesn't come from us. We need spiritual strengthening. And so when we reach this point of understanding what renunciation is, our heart starts to cry out for help. Because let's be honest, we realize that we can't do it alone. The journey is long, the cross is heavy, and the desire to give up appears when we least expect it. It's in this moment that prayer becomes our greatest ally. Not just any prayer, but a sincere conversation with God, asking for strength, courage, and wisdom. Praying is like recharging the soul's batteries. It's connecting with the source of all power. It's admitting that without Him, we are weak, but that with Him, we can do all things. And this prayer doesn't need fancy words. Sometimes, a simple Lord help me is enough to touch God's heart. We ask Him to guide us, to take away the desires that pull us away from Him, to give us eyes that see as He sees, and a heart willing to obey. When we surrender in prayer, it's like placing all our trust in the hands of a loving Father who knows exactly what we need. And it's in this intimate dialogue that we find the way to live according to the divine will, even when the world tries to pull us in the other direction. But how do we know if we're living this will fully? And so, after all of this, you might be wondering, am I ready to truly follow Jesus? Can I pay this price? And you know what? You're not alone in these questions. Everyone who decides to follow Jesus asks themselves these same questions at some point. And that's where the beauty of this journey lies. It doesn't depend solely on our strength, our ability, but on God's infinite love for us. Jesus never promised an easy road, but He promised to be with us every step of the way. He promised that even when the path is narrow, He'll be there holding our hand. That when the weight of the cross seems too much, He'll give us strength. And that, in the end, what we gain with Him is far greater than anything we could lose. Because what He offers is a full life, filled with purpose, a peace that doesn't waver with the storms. So, if today you feel in your heart this desire to truly follow Jesus, to dive into this commitment that transforms, know that He's already taken the first step. He's already waiting for you with open arms. It's up to you to decide to take your step too. Remember, the cost is high, but the reward is eternal. And the best part, you never walk alone. May God strengthen you, guide you, and give you the courage to follow this path of faith, love, and hope every day of your life. Amen. I invite you to click on this video that's appearing on the screen now. You'll like it. God bless.